It's the 25th of January, 1971. The current president of Uganda, Milton Obote, has been attending a 10-day event in Singapore. Here, he's met with other Commonwealth leaders to discuss common policies and current events. But now, it seems like Obote will not be returning home. A military coup is taking place in Uganda, headed by the commander of the army. Roads are blocked off, the airport is sealed, and Obote's residence is surrounded. It accuses the current government of corruption, with the military strongman stepping in to temporarily normalise the situation. He promises that elections will be held soon. This is just temporary. Standing at 6'4" and weighing 280 pounds, no one dares to oppose him. Not that many would right now. Ousting Obote has been pretty popular among the people, and the city of Kampala breaks out in jubilation when the coup arrives. But the celebration will be short-lived. The new leader of Uganda is none other than Idi Amin. For the rest of the decade, Uganda will be in the headlines around the world for all the wrong reasons. The persecution of political rivals doesn't take long to start, where Obote supporters and people from different ethnic tribes in Uganda would begin to disappear, their bodies dumped into the Nile, not before they were used for blood rituals. It is estimated that 500,000 people were slaughtered under his regime. And when people couldn't be dumped into the Nile, they were piled in mass graves in the countryside. A total of 8 coups were attempted against him. None of them were successful due to the fact that his army was mostly a mercenary force which only recruited from his own ethnic tribe and Muslims outside of Uganda. He would declare an economic war against the country's large Indian population. These Ugandan Indians had fully integrated into Ugandan society, born and raised after their ancestors arrived when Uganda was still a British colony. They made up a vital part of the economy, owning most of the businesses. Amin would call them brown Jews and expel them, even sympathising with Hitler for the Holocaust.
I will tell you this. You just wait after 3 months.
What will you do to them?
Okay, you will see.
The business owners were then replaced with ethnic Ugandans who had no experience and minimal education. And just like that, 90% of the tax revenue disappeared and the economy collapsed. This severed diplomatic relations with much of the world, especially the United Kingdom, where he nationalised all British-owned assets and declared himself conqueror of the British Empire. I'm not making this up. In fact, his formal title was His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Hadij Dr. Idi Amin Dada, Lord of all beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general and Uganda in particular. In the setting of the Cold War, Amin turned to the Soviet Union, who supplied him with weapons numbering $48 million in total. Next, there is the Entebbe raid, which in short led to the deaths of Israeli hostages taken by Amin after a hijacked Air France flight landed in Uganda. If I were to explain it here, it would be way too long, so I encourage you to read it yourself. Within the continent, Amin had tensions with Rwanda, Kenya, and especially Tanzania, where Obote had fled to. In 1977, this broke out into a full-scale invasion of Tanzania, and by 1979, it was clear Uganda was losing. A combined force of the Tanzanian army and Ugandan exiles captured Kampala, and Amin was forced to flee the country. He would escape to Libya with longtime supporter Gaddafi, then fled to Saudi Arabia where he died in 2003 from kidney failure. However, in this game, things go a little differently. I bring Idi Amin to power and conquer all of East Africa. Then, I attempt to actually conquer the British Empire. Welcome to episode 2 of Dictators A to Z, where we'll be experiencing the world's most brutal, famous, and lesser-known dictatorships, all inside of Hearts of Iron 4. I'm Colonel Cam, and this is episode 2, The Butcher of Africa, Idi Amin. Hello guys, I hope you enjoyed that intro. Please like the video if you did. They take a while to make, so I'd really appreciate it if you show me some support. And subscribe to follow along with this series. I know we haven't even started this video yet, but episode 3 is going to be Ian Antonescu, the Romanian dictator in World War II. But let's focus on Idi Amin. And in case that wasn't enough of a motivator to subscribe, if you don't, Idi Amin is personally going to come to your house and you will go missing. Fortunately for us, inside of this mod, Uganda has its own focus tree in the 1960 start date. So instead of starting in 1949, we're going to start in 1960. We're going to chuck it on historical. I promised that I would keep things historical. Now, of course, in 1960, Uganda is a British colony, but we get independence in a couple of years. From there, we have plenty of time to turn Uganda into one of the strongest countries in Africa. I don't think there's much really going on. We do have the basic focus tree, but then obviously Uganda does have its own little thing here, which is nice, like the London conference, and we can break free and then and then get cooed by Idi Amin. Anyway, Rome wasn't built in a day, and the same goes for Uganda. Our economy is abysmal, with a GDP of 7 billion. But we do have some form of an income, being agriculture, and I was trying to figure out what I could spend my limited income on. There's no point doing the construction speed. The research speed will be good, but I've got no civilian factories, so there's no point in doing that. I've got no military industry to do product efficiency cap. Political power gain might be the best thing though, or I could just save it. Much like me in real life, I can never decide what to spend it on, and I end up just saving it. See, I could spend income and increase this stuff, or I could just I just want to keep earning money though. However, I do raise a good point. There is no use spending money on construction speed if I have no civilian factory. Really, we're a closed economy? I'm going free trade. Jeez. Anyway, I went down a bit of the basic focus tree to get some industry. Hey, construction effort. Another 2 industrial parks. Oh, this is amazing. All right, there we go. We got like 4 factories going, which ain't...
I'm Scottish.
Scottish?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say so?
In 1961, we're going to hold an election to actually decide who is our leader before we are free. And of course, I want to stick with the historical choice, Milton Obote, so later we can get Idi Amin in power. Is this one? Milton Obote. That's one. UPC victory. So now we're officially socialist, but definitely corrupt. With our new leader in power, it's not long until the British fully leave our country. Alright, independence of Uganda. Look at that. Sovereign state of Uganda. Socialism with a bunch of monarchist popularity. There's the flag. Alright, let's declare a republic. It wasn't long before my neighbours started declaring their independence as well. In the meantime, Idi Amin is working his way through the army. Starting as a chef in the British Army, he's worked his way up the ranks, now commander of the armed forces under Milton Obote. Alright, rise of Idi Amin is done, so now he should be the 3rd position leader. Yes, he is. I was looking through the focus tree and I noticed there's actually an alt history path from Idi Amin where you assassinate Obote and restore democracy. It seems like we can get Idi Amin a lot sooner than 1971. If I rush down all my focuses, I could probably get him in power by 1965. But I'd rather not do that. I'd rather spend the time building up the country so when Idi Amin takes power, we're ready to go. I did just get my first military factory though, look at that, going straight on guns. Government corruption. Nice. Anyway, I continued down my focus tree. There isn't really much to report on regarding what's happening in the 1960s. It's just generate income to increase spending so I can build stuff faster and produce stuff faster. But it's kind of hard to do that when you have government corruption and food shortages. Can I increase tax again? I can. Let's go. Construction speed goes up with the highest tax rate, so it's so OP. Alright, removing tribalism politics. When does the famine go? 1968 is when the famine disappears. Oh my days. Alright, so we have no food, and Obote is lining his pockets. No wonder there was a military coup. Anyway, I'm beginning to get more military factories now. I have 4 on guns, and I'm even producing some artillery. I haven't trained any divisions though, because that costs money, and it's probably going into Obote's pocket. Our army is 18k big, but I've kept it. What I've done is I've kept it in training. I've not selected a location, so it'll be trained. I can deploy it whenever I want, but it's not actually costing me any money. I think I've just figured out the best hack for this mod. You can have an entire army, but just keep it in training, and it won't cost you a cent. Look at me, finding exploits. I should become an exploit YouTuber. Anyway, I'm going to be doing this in every game from now on. However, one thing's for sure, I still don't understand the economy system. 52 billion? Where the hell did this come from? It just went up like a bunch. Did I finish developing? No. What? Where did this money come from? If you look here, it jumps from 29 billion to 41 billion when it only says we get 3 billion a month. We're close to paying off our debt though. Yeah, just one more financial tick and it will be pay off a bull. Okay, I literally have no more focuses that I can do. So, you know what? Screw it. Idi Amin coup. I got impatient. I couldn't wait until 1971. But when he became leader, I just realized how overpowered he is. We have Idi Amin in power. He's got like a bunch of traits. Conqueror of the British Empire. Totally. Carrier general. He's erratic and delusional. And then the machete, which gives resistance goes down, compliance goes up. Now that last trait there is our saving grace. Negative 30% resistance and 0.3% compliance gain. That will give us 100% compliance after a few months of invading a country. At the time, I didn't really pay attention to this, but when I started invading countries, I picked up on it. Obote has fled to Tanzania, so now we have tensions with that country. Then in the focus tree, the war with Tanzania is just a border conflict, which is kind of disappointing, and it is the last focus. But it's fine, we'll just start justifying on them. Alright, I'm not doing that just yet, so I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to wait till I have these guys filled out and then trained. I'm doing 6 because in a border conflict, 6 is the maximum amount of divisions. I want to make sure that I win this, okay? Let's begin. Let's do it. Crush Obote's invasion. So I did the focus and nothing happened. Yep, another Cold War Iron Curtain classic. Literally nothing happened, so I had to start justifying on them. Okay, justify. That's how it's just going to have to be. Italy declaring war on the Libyan Arab Republic because Gaddafi is in power now. Despite putting the game on historical, Italy decides to go fascist or monarchist. Anyway, my justification finished and I immediately started invading Tanzania. They weren't a match for a full-scale invasion. I mean, they could only cover one tile. It didn't take long to snake to all of their victory points because my army was so much larger than Tanzania's, and eventually they capitulated. I spent like 10 minutes trying to decide whether I wanted to puppet or annex, but I came to the annex option because I remembered about the trait he gives that gives compliance gain and resistance reduction. Now, the best thing about this game is that conquering territory does wonders for your economy, and with conquering Tanzania, my GDP almost doubled. GDP 53. Watch this graph. In the meantime, I didn't like the way Rwanda looked at me, so I invaded them. Then Burundi just looked out of place, so I invaded them too.
3, go.
Well, at least we'll have more space to hide the bodies, you know, if you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Alright, 62. There's the spike. That's the spike we're all looking for. 62 billion GDP. Who needs Indian workers, or workers at all, when you can just conquer other territories? It works great. Anyway, I didn't like the way Kenya looked at me either, so I invaded them too. Look at the electricity that Kenya has. They can turn lights on. We can't. We must steal their power. Oh yeah, there's been no power this entire time. I think everyone living in Uganda has not been able to turn their lights on. We're all just living like with candles, etc. But if we take Kenya, we can steal their power. Go. Alright, declare war. No one's coming to your aid. I cut it kind of close with Kenya. I didn't put any of my troops on my border where all of my core territories are. I just invaded them from Tanzania, and fortunately I capitulated them before they capitulated me. We're fine. We're fine. Annex. I keep saying I'm going to puppet, but his compliance gain is just too good. It's so good. Well, it's already going down in Kenya. What? It's not even increasing. They gave up. Now we got, oh my god, we have so many. Zero resistance all across the board. Idi Amin is just too popular. He's obviously just really popular. Next on the rampage of countries was Somalia. I'm going to end up invading Ethiopia as well. I just kind of want a good East Africa. Done. I will annex. Once I unite the Horn of Africa, I'm going to chill out and build a navy and stuff, and then maybe we can think about invading Britain. I mean, if we're going to invade Britain at all, we definitely need a navy. What is this? The French community have their own faction. That could be decent to invade. Anyway, I decided to invade Ethiopia, and funnily enough, Italy is at war with Ethiopia. I might be able to join their faction. And so I did. It makes sense. Italy, Spain, and I are all third position. Rip Ethiopia once again. Finally. Alright, I did most of that. I'll give Italy that. Now, all that's left is French-controlled Djibouti, and it's pretty interesting because Spain and Italy also border France. France left NATO, have their own faction. It only makes sense that the next step is to invade France. Not to mention, it makes a good launching platform into Britain. I sent around 10 divisions to Spain while I put the rest on my border with Djibouti. Unfortunately, Italy was just not joining the war. Me and Spain were fighting France, but Italy was like, nah. Which is annoying because Italy is the strongest country in our faction. And without Italy, the combined forces of me and Spain are pretty much struggling. It got to the point where I had to retreat behind a river. They even encircled some of our divisions. Nope, never mind. This is really bad, Ian. Italy, I genuinely... You're the strongest here, and they've got 20 divisions. Why do they only have 20? But Spain has 20. In my retreat, I did manage to pull off this encirclement, however, which did put us back on a level playing field with France. Anyway, I was wondering how I could get Italy to join the war. I decided that maybe it's because they're still at war with Libya and they don't want to invade multiple countries. So I invaded Sudan to try and invade Libya for them. 94. Okay. So they're about done. Selected, we should be... There we go. We annex. Yeah. Try and increase the... Oh, we did it. We destroyed some. France are over 100k now, casualties. With Sudan gone, I started entering Libya, which was like from the smallest border ever, but I managed to get through the desert into the major cities. Libya's gone. Alright. Now, I am going to give this to Italy, because it would look horrible if it was given to me, okay? Let's be real. Turns out my hunch was correct. With Libya gone now, they would declare war on France. Just in time too, because me and Spain are barely holding. They joined. They actually joined. Okay, well I have a bunch of divisions here. And just like that, Italy began invading and France would collapse. That's gotta be it. Look how little they have. There we go. Okay, so now don't judge me for this peace deal. I had no idea what to do. I wanted some land more than just Djibouti because, like, I did the majority of the war, let's be honest. But Spain and Italy definitely deserve some land too, so... This is horrible. Okay, do not judge... It's fine. But I made sure to take their navy. We're going to need it if we're going to have any supremacy with Britain. It's not my fault. Okay, the peace deal looks terrible because look at the bloody states that they've made in this mod. What is that? Now, I wanted to grow my navy, but there isn't any countries left that have a navy that I can steal that aren't in NATO or the Warsaw Pact. I mean, there's Yugoslavia, but that navy isn't really going to make much of a difference. Look at that. No resistance. And we got full compliance on all of this. I don't want to expand beyond this in Africa because I like this. This looks nice. Oh, I don't even have this. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, because I released France, I should have retained. I was really not on my peace deal game today. Well, not today, but the time I played this. Anyway, I started preparing for war against NATO. That means a border with Portugal, the Benelux, and West Germany, and then also invading Britain. Could train. Oh, I'm training more. Okay, oh, I'm training 18 more. Oh, Army's getting big. You know, I could just invade all of Africa and just own all of Africa, but that's kind of boring. I was pretty confident in the fact that my navy was nowhere near big enough. I tried looking around for countries that I could invade that had a navy and wouldn't cause like a global war, and no, I couldn't find any. So I settled with the idea of making a bunch of planes and hopefully naval bombing them into submission. But there's also this exploit where if you declare war and have your invasion go straight away, you have supremacy for like a day. I might as well start justifying on Britain. Whoa. I have never seen this super event. The death of Mao. I've never seen it because I've never played this far into the game. Anyway, I set up my invasion for Dover and Portsmouth, hoping to land in at least one. Let's go. And the invasion is off. For some reason, Britain invaded France at the exact same time from the port that I left off. I don't know how that happened. That has got to be some sort of glitch. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I landed in Britain with absolutely no equipment because they all died. Yeah, so that's not good, and I hadn't prepared for an invasion into France, so I was scraping to get divisions there. And as a result, with no supply or a close-by port, we may have just lost all of the divisions. But we're supposed to be the conqueror of the British Empire. What's going on? Like, aren't we the... Anyway, I gotta try and defend France now. Oh my god. Real Italy? Oh my god. Italy is now getting invaded. France looks like this. We did take all of mainland Portugal, but they didn't capitulate because their core territory in Angola is a thing, which is ridiculous. Oh man, this mod has so much potential. It could be so much better. What if, like, imagine the Soviet Union actually did something? Every single game you play, the Soviet Union is just non-responsive. They don't do a thing. I abandoned Spain and Italy. I'm not defending them. Nope. They weren't even my allies to begin with anyway. What I must focus on is trying to defend my own country. There's a port. How did we lose the port so easily? There's a port there. I'm able to repel the majority of the naval invasions, and if I keep doing it, eventually they're going to run out of divisions. In another universe, Idi Amin was the conqueror of the British Empire. In this one, unfortunately, he was not. Look at that. Boom. Captured some American tanks. Yes, they're not passing. Look, they try to get it. They can't invade. They're dying. Hey, I did it. Goodbye. Think you could colonize Africa again, huh, Britain? You think you can colonize us again? I mean, I'm repelling and encircling every single invasion. Soviet-Afghan war super event. I've never played this far into the game, so I never see these super events. At this point, I was getting kind of tired of crushing these encirclements, and it was honestly, this game was going to go on forever. I know it doesn't look too good for me right now, but I have everything under control, okay? Look, I conquered every former British colony that was in East Africa. I'm pretty sure I am the conqueror of the British Empire. And if you take a look at this image, you can clearly see that I have indeed conquered the British Empire. If you comment that I just used a console command, Idi Amin will also personally come to your house and you will go missing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and for those of you who haven't gone missing, I'll see you guys in the next one.